Hey there, fellow gardener. I need to let you in on something that's going to change the way you think about lawn clippings forever. You know that pile of grass you've been hauling to the curb every weekend, the stuff you've been viewing as yard waste? Well, I'm about to show you why that waste is actually gardening gold, especially when you combine it with one surprising ingredient, charcoal. I stumbled onto this game-changing method almost by accident a few years ago, and honestly, I haven't looked at grass clippings the same way since. Today, I'm sharing everything I've learned about transforming these two simple materials into soil that'll have your plants thriving like never before. Trust me, your garden is about to thank you. Let's talk about what you're actually throwing away when you toss those grass clippings. Every single blade is packed with nitrogen, one of the 3 essential nutrients plants absolutely need to thrive. We're talking about a nitrogen content of around 4%. Which might not sound like much until you realize that's comparable to some commercial fertilizers you'd pay good money for at the garden center. But here's what makes grass clippings even more special. They're what we call a green material in composting terms. This means they break down quickly, releasing their nutrients rapidly into your soil. When fresh grass starts decomposing, it creates heat and feeds the beneficial microorganisms that make soil come alive. I've seen soil temperatures rise noticeably within just 24 hours of adding fresh grass clippings to a prepared bed. The moisture content in grass is another hidden benefit. Those clippings are roughly 70 to 80% water, which means they help maintain consistent moisture levels in your soil while they break down. In the heat of summer, this can be an absolute lifesaver for your plants. Now, let's talk about the ingredient that takes this whole method from good to absolutely phenomenal charcoal. But before you raid your barbecue supplies, let me be clear, we're talking about natural lump charcoal or biochar here, not the briquettes loaded with chemicals and lighter fluid. That distinction is crucial for keeping your soil safe and healthy. Charcoal works like a sponge in your soil, but not just any sponge. It's incredibly porous at the microscopic level, with a surface area that's mind-boggling when you really think about it. 1 gram of activated charcoal can have a surface area of up to 3,000 square meters. Even regular horticultural charcoal offers hundreds of square meters of surface area per gram. What does this mean for your garden? It means charcoal can hold onto water, nutrients, and beneficial microorganisms like nothing else. When you add charcoal to your soil, you're essentially creating tiny condominiums for beneficial bacteria and fungi. These microorganisms colonize the porous structure of the charcoal, and from there, they work their magic on your soil. They break down organic matter, make nutrients available to plants, and even help protect your plants from diseases. I've noticed that beds treated with charcoal-enriched soil consistently outperform my control beds, especially during stressful conditions like drought or heavy rain. The longevity of charcoal in soil is another massive advantage. Unlike grass clippings that break down within weeks or months, charcoal can remain stable in your soil for hundreds or even thousands of years. This means you're making a one-time investment that keeps paying dividends season after season. Alright, let's get into the practical stuff. Here's how I prepare this magical soil mixture, and believe me, once you see the results, you'll want to do this every time you mow your lawn. Alright, let's get started by collecting your grass clippings immediately after mowing. Trust me, fresh is best here because the nitrogen content is at its peak, and the moisture level is just perfect for what we're trying to achieve. Now, go ahead and spread your clippings in a layer about 2 to 3 inches thick, directly on your garden bed or in a dedicated mixing area. Next up, you'll want to crush your charcoal into pieces roughly the size of a pea or smaller. No need to get too obsessive about this, but smaller pieces have more surface area and integrate better with the grass. Personally, I usually put chunks in a sturdy bag and give them a few good whacks with a hammer. It's actually pretty therapeutic after a long week, if you ask me. Now sprinkle your crushed charcoal over the grass clippings at a ratio of about 1 part charcoal to 5 or 6 parts grass by volume. This ratio has worked beautifully for me, though you can adjust slightly based on what you have available. Mix everything together thoroughly, either with a garden fork or by hand if you're working with a smaller amount. Here's where it gets interesting. Water this mixture lightly, just enough to ensure everything is evenly moist but not waterlogged. Then, work it into the top 4 to 6 inches of your existing soil. You can also create a layer on top of your beds and let it gradually incorporate, over time, through watering and natural decomposition. The transformation truly does start happening overnight. Within the first 24 hours, you'll notice the grass beginning to break down. The mixture may feel warm to the touch as microbial activity kicks into high gear. This is exactly what you want to see. Over the next few days to weeks, the grass clippings decompose rapidly, releasing nitrogen and other nutrients. Meanwhile, the charcoal is busy absorbing and holding on to these nutrients, preventing them from washing away with rain or irrigation. It's also soaking up moisture like a reservoir, creating a buffer against both drought and overwatering. The soil structure improves dramatically too. The decomposing grass adds organic matter that lightens heavy clay soils and adds substance to sandy soils. The charcoal creates air pockets and channels for roots to explore. I've pulled up plants from charcoal-amended beds and seen roots that are noticeably more robust and extensive than those from untreated soil. Once you've mastered the basic technique, there are some advanced moves you can try. I like to add a thin layer of finished compost on top of my grass and charcoal mixture. This introduces even more beneficial microorganisms and gives the system a jump start. Another trick is to save your grass clippings from different times of the season. Spring grass is particularly high in nitrogen, while fall grass contains more carbon as the plants prepare for dormancy. Mixing clippings from different seasons can create a more balanced amendment. Consider charging your charcoal before mixing it with grass. Soak crushed charcoal in compost tea or liquid fertilizer for a day or two before adding it to your beds. This preloads the charcoal with nutrients and beneficial microbes, making it immediately effective rather than having to build up its reserves over time. Look, I get it. When I first heard about mixing grass clippings with charcoal, I was skeptical too. It seemed too simple, almost too good to be true. But the science is solid, and more importantly, the results speak for themselves. My tomatoes are more productive, my flowers bloom longer, and my soil just feels alive in a way it never did before. The best part? You're taking two resources you already have and transforming them into something valuable instead of sending them to a landfill. That's gardening wisdom at its finest. Ready to transform your garden soil and never look at grass clippings the same way again? Subscribe to Grow with Soil for more practical, tested techniques that actually work. Share this article with your fellow gardeners, and let's build a community of growers who understand that the best solutions are often the simplest ones. Your dream garden is waiting, and it starts with the soil beneath your feet.